Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Just Another G.I. Joe Show, episode number 67. I am joined with J.E. Russell from Chicken Fried Toys, Dime Novel Legend. How's it going, man?
Bagok.
um,
How's it going?
we're good. Bobby is running a few minutes late, and Fred he said he had a migraine, but he sent me a selfie of him wearing an eye patch. So I don't get it if he's really sick or he's out playing pirate.
I'm going to reserve any statement on that. Never mind. Hey, do me a favor, Mike. Text me a link to the show. I've got a couple of people on our Chicken Fried Toys page asking for the link so they can listen in. I posted a little bit earlier that I'd be on tonight, and looks like a few people are actually paying attention. Surprise!
You want me to text it or send it to you through? I'll send it through Facebook Messenger.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine, buddy. So, how you doing? I noticed that you haven't had me on in a while.
It's because Bobby paid me not to.
Oh, that's fine.
So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about everything that's gone down from Toy Fair and the 6-inch Joe line, which we kind of knew was coming. And then we're going to talk talk about yours and Bobby's stuff that's going on. I know you've got some new stuff going on with the Cowboys, and then Bobby reopened up his crowdfunding or Crowdox or whatever it's called for some other stuff. So what is new with the Cowboys? I know you did the pre-order, and then there was some other stuff you showed us.
Yeah, there's another pre-order that's supposed to go live tomorrow. It may be Monday before that happens. I'm waiting to hear back from our web guy to see how things are going. Some of the other vendors that were supplying artwork and stuff were running a little behind, and that kind of put everybody behind. So the plan is to have it live for tomorrow if we can. If not, it'll be Monday for sure. Most likely, barring an act of God or something like that. But the pre-orders for the next wave of Buckaroos and Boot Heel loot. There's 5 brand new bucks and 5 sets of Boot Heel loot gear and accessories all together in one set, so you don't have to buy as much to build your figures this time around. There's also a new 6-pack of heads, all new, and a pack that we're calling the necktie party, which is all bandanas and string ties and things like that. Some of the items that were highly requested from after the Kickstarter, like we did with the hats in the previous pre-order. So I'm hoping everybody enjoys those. By the way, the Bucks have three brand new parts in their builds that you guys haven't seen yet. So I hope that it opens up some options and allows you to do more stuff, So yeah, there's that. Yeah. Everybody can see the pictures on the Facebook page, which is where we put out all of our information, kind of corral it all in one place. All you got to do is just look at the photos, and you'll see an album titled Buckaroos Wave 1.5 or Buckaroos Series 2. I don't remember what I put on that, but you'll see it. It's highly active.
Hold on one second. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm reading through a bunch of stuff at the same time doing this.
Well, that's all right.
A lot of fucking Transformer nerd drama going on. I'm sick and tired of it. So
my experience with the Transformer community when I was still making a lot of cast stuff there is they really don't complain in terms of cost of things. They appreciate that something cost X amount of dollars, and that's just what it is, and that you either pay it or you don't. But man, do they want things yesterday. Holy crap. By the time they decide they wanted it, should have been in their hands already. So that's my only experience with the community that was anyway negative. There was lots of support and stuff like that. And at some point, I'd like to go back to making replacement parts for some of those figures and stuff. But the other thing is they all wanted them in exact matching colors, and I don't do that because I don't want somebody down the line to be taken advantage of by an unscrupulous reseller. Say you sell your collection and the reseller either doesn't know or does know, and worse, takes advantage of a buyer who doesn't have a full education on the capabilities of resin casting. So, yeah.
Let me see if Bobby's not here. Another thing I wanted to kind of talk about is I know I'll get Bobby's his what he
Spin.
thinks of speaking, what he wants to talk about or what he wants to say
Mhm.
about it. But what it, and with Fresh Monkeys sit down an email earlier today talking about the
Mhm.
Larry Hama figure with this coronavirus going on and all
Mhm.
this other stuff. And what is your you know
What's my read? Where are we at?
yeah, where are you thinking now, Mary? You
What's my
thinking that
temperature?
you thinking your stuff's going to be pushed back a month or two, or what do you think's
Abs
going to happen?
That is absolutely correct. Yeah, there's the entire nation of China is pretty much shut down, not to a complete standstill, but it's certainly within the manufacturing sector, it's very significant. Um, our factory was supposed to go back to work on the 2nd of this month, and they're still not back. I know that they're making preparations for that in terms of bringing in a skeleton crew, making sure everything's disinfected and that they have all the proper precautions to make sure that a sickness doesn't run rampant through their entire workforce when they come back. But even at that, right now, as I understand it, there's about 60 to 70% of the country that's still under travel restrictions.
Right.
So, that means that when they come back, they're not going to have a full workforce right away. Now, our factory and my representative over there, um, they're fully aware of the time restraints that we have regarding our 2 exclusives coming up, and they're going to do their best. But until they get back to in the swing of things a bit more, I'm not going to have any information on when things are going to be ready. That's why I haven't said anything much about it publicly. But yeah, absolutely, it's going to cause ripple effects for probably the next 6 months in terms of lost productivity and stuff. Because right now, even if they went back, if the entire nation in manufacturing went back to work tomorrow, they would still have an entire month of production lost right now, and it takes a long time to make that up. You can figure 3 or 4 months to pull up your bootstraps and get back where you're supposed to be. But they, that's one of the reasons we manufactured in China, is the infrastructure that they have in place for this particular type of item is second to none worldwide. Vietnam to a lesser extent, a little bit in India, Malaysia, and things like that. They have a pretty good infrastructure, but they can't beat what China has been building for the last 60 years. So it's not really one of those decisions that we can change up too much, given our financial restraints as a new company. And I suspect it's much the same for Jason Bienvenu and Bobby and everybody else who's working over there right now. I spoke with Bill at Eagle Force earlier this week, and we actually discussed the thing that he put out the press release on. What did he feel like was going to be the impact in his delivery time and stuff like that, since he's already behind due to the problems they had with the previous factory and such. And it's going to be significant. Right now we're in a holding pattern on our next 5 figures past the 2 exclusives, the Cavalry Officer and the Texas Ranger. They'll move on to that as soon as they're able, but it's probably going to make our delivery date late, and there's nothing we can do about it. And I hope that the public is understanding that we don't have any control over this. And it's not just us, it's literally everybody who's manufacturing anything there. So, there's not anything that could have been done to avoid it. There's not anything that could be due to fix it, that we could do to fix it. There's not anything that the company, our manufacturing company in China can do to fix it. It's just ride it out until it's over and then try your best to make up the ground that you've lost. So what this means for us is that as long as there's something manufactured before our show release dates for the 2 exclusives, we'll air freight whatever we can get over here to make sure it's in hand on time. That's a significant expense, but
Right, because you got people who have pre-ordered that expect in order to have they paid extra in order to have that.
Yeah, they're expecting to be able to pick it up at the show.
Right,
And
absolutely. We don't want you to be considered fun pub here. Now
well,
they're like, oh no.
Well, we already have a contingency plan in place with regards to that. I've spoken with the local club leadership who are putting on the show and things like that. And basically what will happen is if you have pre-purchased and you're attending the show and it comes to pass that we don't have the stuff on time, and we still don't know that. So don't leap to conclusions, you people who are listening. If we don't have the stuff on time, then it will be shipped at no expense to you as soon as it arrives. which is another expense for us and for the club, in that we're going to have to, pay a couple people to come in and help bust all those out as quick as possible. So, it's not something that anybody wants to see. For anybody who's not attending the show, it really doesn't change the scenario for you, in that it might just be a little bit later before you get your stuff, but you're still guaranteed it. So, the current disposition on the club related stuff is, most of the information is out there. I know that we finally got them to change the listing for the 3 3/4 exclusives to include the T-shirt as it was originally supposed to. So that's been done. I provided them. All right, I provided them with. Go ahead. If you're gonna go ahead and die, down on the mic.
No. I was trying to, because you had just said some of the T-shirts. Can you kind of clarify that a little bit? Did you just say that they have actually considered the shirts as part of the package now? Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. To my knowledge, and this is what we've discussed. I don't know if it's what they've implemented, but to my knowledge, if you've pre-purchased a package already, and there's not that many of them, and you want a shirt, you can add it for $10, which is basically cost. There's no upcharge other than that. For everybody past this point who is going to order the package in anticipation of either attending or having it mailed out after, the shirt will be bundled with it. You'll be able to choose the size that you need. There's images of the shirt out there on the Eventbrite site and on the club pages as well. So, I mean, you can see what you're getting into. As far as I know, most everything is taken care of at this point. They're running considerably far behind where they're supposed to be in terms of getting everything set up on the website and everything connected. But as I understand it, it's just about done finally. So, again, if you've already pre-purchased a package, and there have been some of you that have, not a significant amount, but some, if you want to add a shirt, you can. It's a $10 upcharge, which is basically cost of the shirt, and that's it. So,
here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to go down there and I'm going to buy all your stock, and I'm going to turn around and sell on the black market. So all you people listening who want a loan, what's that one called? The Texas Ranger?
The Badlands Vigilante or the Texas Ranger?
I'm your hookup. I'm 4 hours away.
Well, all I got to say is bring a deep pocketbook, and I don't take checks.
The hell you won't. You are going to take my check and you're going to love it. Now, with that being said, I'm really that kind of, when the whole coronavirus started and everything, that's why I was kind of concerned about it. I thought to myself, how is this going to affect not only you, but Bobby, Fresh Monkeys, Eagle Force, all these people that are doing all their work over there? It's worse enough that we just had a month off because of the Chinese New Year, which is kind of like, man, let's get drunk for a month. That's what it amounts to. And it's kind of like, man, and now this happens, and you're like, with everything, people not traveling to these countries or being told not to, it makes you wonder whether the U.S. is going to take shipments from over there. I mean, are we?
I don't. To my knowledge, and I've done quite a bit of reading on it. I've been following this since last December when it first showed up, because I knew it was going to impact things whether we liked it or not, and I was trying to stay informed. But as I understand it, and this is from the CDC, the virus can't survive more than 24 hours outside the human body, a human host. So you're not going to need to worry about any of your merchandise getting here and making you sick because you picked up a germ off a package or something like that. And if you are concerned about that, man, just spray it with some Lysol. If you want some insurance, I don't think you're going to need it, but just in case. The virus is, I was watching Bill Maher last night, and he had an expert from the CDC on there, a lovely woman who really explained the major difference. The difference in these particular types of virus, these coronaviruses, is that unlike the flu, which doesn't necessarily settle in any of your major organs or anything like that, this coronavirus settles in your lungs. And because of that, you run into respiratory problems. And that's why you'll see that almost everybody who has been a casualty of this is usually compromised in some way. They're either already sick, or they're elderly, or they're very young and don't have a robust, immune system. So, like I said, you don't have to worry about the stuff any merchandise that you get over there making you sick, because it doesn't survive for more than about 24 hours outside the human body. So, hey, Bobby.
What's up, fellas?
What's going on, man? You doing all right?
Sorry, I was late.
You walked in on the technical part of the discussion.
Yeah.
Wow, coming in on a downer.
Yeah, it is what it is, man.
No, we were going to talk about later. We'll talk a little bit about the 6-inch line from Hasbro a little bit later. But what I was asking John was, of course, he talked a little bit about the other stuff he's got coming out. Which, of course, I do want you to mention about the reopening the Crowdox and pre-orders of that nature. And then, of course, knowing that your line is not scheduled till like December, is my understanding. It's December this year, right?
Yeah.
Now with this, I know you were wanting to try to get it early, is what the plan was. But now with this coronavirus, are we still thinking December or maybe January of 2021?
From what Dave at the factory has told me, my line shouldn't be delayed at all. So
that's great news, man. That's great news.
Yeah, great news. And he said, if anything, maybe a week or two, but he said that the impact shouldn't be too bad on mine. I don't know. I think maybe they like my line better than John's, but we'll see.
That's the benefits of being a little further downstream, a little farther behind the 8 ball there, Bobby.
Yeah, so fingers crossed that it all gets wrapped up and we can stick to the schedule that we have, because that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Is that a Corona you're drinking?
No, Corona. Are you?
I was going to say, the Corona,
champagne, baby.
Champagne. Okay, hold on. I was going to say the coronavirus. You're drinking Corona. I don't believe it.
Oh my God! Another Trump victim.
My vote counted that year. Damn it. Yeah, the year I voted for Nader, it didn't work out too well for him that year.
I understand.
Anyway, so Bobby, tell us what's going on with the Crowdox. You have reopened it up for adding extra items.
Yay!
What can happen? What all can happen? Who all can do it now?
Well, I was kind of thinking that it really didn't have anything to do with the Joe 6-inch line. It just really it happened in a really good coincidence way. Screw you, John. No, I was thinking, like, me, it's like I had so much planned that I wanted to do so much more, and the fact that like Eclipse didn't fund, and I was talking with someone who may or may not do an exclusive one day. I was just looking at what wasn't produced, and I was like, man, there's got to be a way to get some of this stuff out there. And I was talking with Dave, and we were working through the mold plan for the line, and it turned out that we had allocated a mold for the stand, but he was able to fit the Swarm gear pack into that mold.
Oh, that's awesome.
I said, well, we're tooling it anyway. I was like, so many people purchase Swarm Troopers. I said, I got so much good feedback about the Swarm gear pack, and, seeing it on the figure, it looks really cool. I was like, we got to get this in there. So I was a little nervous because I didn't want to do another Eclipse where like I put this stuff out there and then it didn't fund, and then I had to remove it, and kind of, I just didn't want people to be disappointed. But I took the gamble and I said, while we're at it, let's throw the blue Riot Trooper in there and the gear pack for the troopers. And it took off, and I couldn't be happier. I'm so psyched. People are so happy that the Swarm gear pack is available, because all the people that got Swarm Troopers are now able to get that gear pack. And now the Riot Trooper, the numbers on that and its gear pack are through the roof. And then
I wonder why. Could it be because the color is very specific? I wonder.
It wasn't my idea it actually wasn't my idea to put the Riot Trooper out, but someone said, well, you might have a good
might be a good move
going if you put it out there. So I did, and hey, it's working. And then
good. I'm glad.
Yeah, and then the 6-inch Joes come out, and then it didn't hurt the line at all. If anything, my sales shot up like crazy the weekend of Toy Fair. So
that's because they saw what they were getting. They said, screw this shit, I'm buying Bobby's stuff.
Well, I mean, to take a little deeper dive into that just a second, you'll see something that's very prevalent in the rest of the marketplace in terms of customers. They even if they know something is coming out later on down the line, they'll rush to get the next best thing as quickly as possible. And I think you're the beneficiary of that this time. They're going to want to build some kind of a trooper to go with these 6-inch Joes, and you have something that's already in place, fortunately for you. And I think that the customer base's impatience, let's say, is gonna benefit you in terms of building out the line, and I'm glad to see it. I'm not at all against it. I think it's really cool. So I'm super stoked about the extra swarm parts. I got a swarm trooper, and I'd like to get the packs and stuff to go with him. So I'm super happy about that.
Cool, Patrick. Thank you for saying that my figures look better, but don't. That doesn't mean anything.
Now I'm going to be honest. I mean,
where are you seeing comments at? I don't have any chat comments.
You gotta click on the live comments. So there's like the private chat, and then on the toolbar it says live comments. Click on live.
Oh,
comments.
I see that. Thank you for educating me.
Damn
that should have been the host. That should have been the host.
I've been posting the comments up here on the screen. Shut up, John. So let's just get to the fruit of every evil, and we waited a little while so we can actually talk about everything instead of coming out every 5 minutes with something and talking about it. So
Bobby
6-inch G.I. Joe.
Bobby is live. I think you got a fan, Bob.
Really?
Yeah. Scroll up. Bobby is love. Bobby is life.
Here's that one. Hold on.
Man, it's like
we have to
book
stop
of
the show for
Bobby.
a second. Hold on. You can't go anywhere.
Is that like the book of Bobby?
I guess.
Bobby, you have a cult. You have a following.
Hail Bobby, full of grace.
We're gonna go to hell for saying that.
Yeah.
So the 6-inch line from G.I. Joe. Now, granted, I mean, I am going to get them because of the sheer fact it is G.I. Joe, and I did say I've been kind of saying I wanted a 6-inch line.
Yeah, you're total sellout of what you are.
That's fine, and I'm still buying Bobby's shit. So shut up, John. And anyways, and you're getting a little angry about me. I'm already wired up as it is. Already, I told you that.
Decaf, baby.
I'm drinking. Leave me alone, John. Shut up. And so now, granted, I thought it was hilarious how the Snake Eyes came out. Snake Eyes came out, and I pre-ordered it, and then of course it sold out later on. Then they put it back up there, but it's not coming out for 3 more months for those people. And what was really funny about this was that someone had posted an eBay link where a guy was selling that so-called convention set, I guess they're calling it, for $175, and someone actually bought it.
Well, what they're saying on the convention set, they're going by what was on the carton markups as far as I remember reading. Now, that may not be 100% correct, but I recall saying that. Let me ask you guys both something. I mean, Bobby, obviously, behind the scenes a lot more than some of the audience does in terms of costing and stuff. Do you feel like if the retail price on the regular Snake Eyes is $20, that there's $20 worth of extra gear there to make the retail 40? And I'm saying that as somebody that isn't buying it. So,
no, I don't. I think without trying to get salty about it, the 6-inch line's not for me. It wasn't. It's not what when I was designing my 6-inch line when I was at Hasbro. It took a more Pursuit of Cobra direction. Mm-hmm. This took a more sort of sci-fi, outside the box direction, and I get it. I totally get it because they feel like, look at Sigma 6, look at the 2000s. Joe always evolved, and a lot of Joe the 2000 stuff I can't stand. Sigma 6, it's not for me. Mm-hmm. So when I saw these, I wanted them to be what I had hoped, and it's just what I was looking for. And I think the thing that got me the most was the price value. That was the thing that I was looking at, like, well, why did they do that? Because here's a little inside knowledge. There's no royalty on G.I. Joe. When you design a Star Wars figure or a Marvel figure, there's a royalty.
Yeah.
There's a percentage royalty. It's very high. So that eats into your cost. So Marvel Legends, you can't put things like a lot of accessories and stands and things like that because your cost is eaten up. But when I was working on that Joe 6-inch line, talking with Daryl, it's like we didn't have a royalty. So we said we are going to pack these things filled with accessories. I had a stand for them, multiple hands, multiple accessories. And when I saw what they put out, I said, well, that's a really bad value. And, you know, the more I thought about it, I was like, well, I understand, because I think when the Star Wars and Marvel markets, like marketers and that side of Hasbro, they look at that, they don't want the Joe figures to be out there at $20 and look amazing, and then see that on the shelf and say, wait a second, that's $20 too? Well, how come I'm not getting all this stuff? But so it almost hurts Joe because of that high royalty on Marvel and Star Wars. So it's almost like now they're making Joe product with a royalty that doesn't exist. And you know, I just looked at them like you missed an opportunity to put a lot of accessories with these figures. And even if they can't go the real gun route, which I get. Mm-hmm. Even if they just put more stuff, like Duke comes with a backpack and a pair of binoculars and a rifle and a pistol. Okay, well, Scarlett has 3 knives.
3 knives and a crossbow.
And a crossbow.
And that's what I'm looking at right now.
Where's her backpack? Where's something else? Why does she need 3 knives? And all that room in the package, you could put something. And it's like Roadblock, he's got a removable magazine on that tuning fork rifle that he has.
Whatever the hell that thing was.
I just think it was a big miss. And it's unfortunate that they're probably pushing the Joe team to say, well, no, you guys can't put more stuff in there because we have to price match and perceive value of
pre-existing. Yeah.
Let me say something real quick on that. When you're talking about the price point, the weapons, and they're trying to keep it at $20, why are they so worried about keeping it at 20? What do you think? Well, the reason why they're keeping it at 20 when they're raising Marvel Legends that are going anywhere from $25 to $30, and they don't come with accessory packs like this.
I was going to comment on that exactly, that exact thing, but not in such a it's okay, but not in such a roundabout way. One of the things I wanted to remind everybody of is these are price point is $19.99. You've got Marvel Legends and Star Wars Black at $24.99, and some of them going up to $29 before the year's over, according to Hasbro's own press releases. And I think that you've hit the nail directly on the head with the perceived value overall. I don't think that the marketplace is going to be saturated with a lot of pre-existing G.I. Joe buyers buying this stuff. I mean, why do you want to buy another collection that you've already got, just in a different size? And that leads me to believe that they expect to have a lot of support from the Marvel Legends buyers and the Star Wars Black Series buyers, because they're in the same scale. And we all know that everybody likes their stuff to scale togetger, Star Wars, G.I. Joe, blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's my entire collection's built on that. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, man. Didn't mean to leave that out on purpose. I consider yours a band apart.
Oh, thanks.
In a superior manner. With regards to that perceived value, I think that is exactly why they probably made some of the decisions they did. If you look at the sculpts, just disregard the color palettes and stuff and look at the sculpts. The sculpts aren't that different in terms of design, except for the shin armor, which I think is stupid, but whatever. They're not that different in terms of design from some of the previous versions of these same characters. Snake Eyes looks like he jumped off of the late Devil's Due stuff right off the covers. Roblox's vest is obviously the 86 vest, but what you have here is color palettes and things like that are kind of and I'm sure that they chose those for a particular reason. I would guess, if I'm guessing, I would guess that it references the look and style of like Fortnite figures and stuff like that, which are successful at the moment. And they're trying to capture a little bit of that market. I can't blame them for that from a corporate standpoint. But as a longtime fan, as somebody who owns one of every 3 3/4 Joe ever released, I can't look at it and say that's for me. That's what, and the argument that these are for kids, no, that's bullshit. I agree with the guy on Retro Blasting about that. These are not the thing that kids are going to buy. You're not going to have a 7-year-old kid going in the store buying a $20 action figure, something he knows nothing about. It's just not going to happen. I think that there is some opportunity for improvement if they want to do it. I don't think that the corporate will is there. I'm not trying to knock the design team that worked on these, even though it wouldn't have been my first choice. But as a fan, strictly as a fan, I think that there is a lot of room to improve these if you really want to get that pre-existing fan base to jump in with your new fans. And this is a bit of a miss for me in terms of that. So.
Yeah, and the other thing, going back to the price, I mean, yeah, they're 20, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's to test the market. So if you see Joe's come out and they're 20 and they're flying off the shelves, I bet you they're going to raise them to be in line with Marvel Legends and Star Wars. But if not, probably keep them at 20. But also the price thing, I think that the price, like when listen, in 2017, 2018, when I was working on Legends, we were talking about raising the price to 25. And it just never got there yet. And then I think it's kind of one of those things where some markets will, some markets won't. And, I saw people kind of going crazy over GameStop raising it to 30. Well, that's GameStop. GameStop is kind of like
they have to pay that expensive rent.
There's an MSRP, but they don't follow it. Toys R Us was always, 21 or 22.99 where they should be 19.99 everywhere else. So, the price thing, I don't think it's across the board raised to 25 or 30 yet, but it will get there. I kind of hope it gets there, because then it'll look like when they get to 30 and my figures are 32, they'll be like, oh wow, what a great value it is. I have stands and extra hands and stuff like that. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that. One of the things we caught a little flack for during the Kickstarter was a slightly high price at retail. And over the 2 years and 6 months that it took us to get everything manufactured in here, the marketplace caught up. So my prediction was right. I'm not going to say that's what we're going to continue to do, but given the circumstances, something that we felt like we had to do. And it turns out we're right on the money in terms of what other people are selling for at this point, as far as boutique figures and stuff are concerned. One of the things that I wanted to comment on based on what you said there at the very beginning on that little bit of spiel, Bobby, is that for me as a fan of the property, I would easily pay $20 for a POC level 3 3/4 figure. I would have no qualms whatsoever about doing that.
I agree. I would as well.
So I again, I think it's just another missed opportunity for Hasbro to capitalize on the pre-existing marketplace and expand at the same time. I don't know anybody who collects modern figures who doesn't look at those and say these are where the brand should go.
Yeah.
You've got the same. You got characters that you recognize key elements of, like say low light, red shoulder patch, a knit cap, goggles. But then the rest of the figure's been redesigned and updated, all new gear, all new look. Even the 30th anniversary and Resolute stuff, which is also part of that, as far as I'm concerned. 30th anniversary is similar designs and color palettes, but it's brand new sculpts, brand new details, brand new things that bring these characters alive and really add to the nostalgia that everybody seems to have so much love for from 82 to 94. I'm not knocking it. I obviously have a full collection. I'm happy for it. I don't have a fetish for Steel Brigade, but that's another story.
G1, I'm reading the chat, but John talks so much that I can't address all the comments.
And I can't. And I'll be honest, it's my damn show, and I can never get a word in edgewise.
Before we get off, I'll try to address everyone's comments. I'll take a few minutes at the end and go through, and I'll answer people's questions and things like that. So, but John, going back to your initial question was about the Snake Eyes, is the value there. And no, I will admit I did pre-order a Snake Eyes just because I want to see it. I want to see the construction of it. I like to get every figure on the market to kind of see do's and don'ts or things like that. So I got it, but at the same time, it's like with shipping and stuff, it was almost $50, and I was like, man, what a rip on it. Because if you look at it, like, he's got a bunch of accessories, like him alone in his box. That's $20. And then I look at the stand with those extra weapons that I think only one or two have a hit a deco on them. I was like, well, that's not $20. But then, they have to say, oh, well, it's convention packaging and that poster and this and that. So that's where you get that $40 from, but it's not, the price value isn't there. Now I'm wondering, because the first wave will have Snake Eyes in it, but if you notice the convention set or the exclusive online one has real weapons. I would bet $1 million if I had it that the Snake Eyes that will come out for retail will be that same figure, but it'll have different accessories, and it'll have more sci-fi, unrealistic weapons like Duke and Roblox, things like that. So
that's something that you mentioned that I was asking a question internally about, is if it was so important to update the weapons for the other guys that are coming, why does Snake Eyes still have an Uzi? That weapon is 40 some odd years old.
Yeah,
actually it's more than that. It's like 50 years old at this point, isn't it?
Well, I don't know if you saw, like, I on Mark Weber's like post on Facebook, one of my big gripes was the grenades on his bandolier are World War II era grenades. They're not modern day grenades. And it's like, to me, my feelings aside for the person that designed it, but as far as like just a design from a design sense, like, you didn't do your research. Like, if you're making a modern figure, you did not do your research. Like, all you had to do was look up modern day grenades and look that they do not look like that. Shoot, even look at 85 Snake Eyes, their grenades didn't look like that. Yeah. So why would you put those on there? That's just poor design work. It's just little things like that. Like, you have an opportunity, like, this is your opportunity to like get this right, and you didn't. It's like, when I was working on that 6-inch line, man, I had folders of reference to make sure everything was spot on. You know, and I updated all of Snake Eyes' weapons to modern day because it had to fit with the time. You know, that's just the way it is. It's kind of like the club, like doing the modern figures and then tooling up weird guns like recoil double blasters. Like, you don't need to do that.
That's what I was just going to mention there, that we've discussed many times privately before, is you have an opportunity to do a definitive version of something here from brand new tooling. Why not go ahead and do it? It doesn't make any sense from a design standpoint. So. Yeah, you're right on the money. Yeah,
I agree. Yeah. It's unfortunate. I wanted the line to be great. I want, because listen, at the end of the day, they're doing well. Action Force does well. So that, like, Action Force is the reason I did Action Force is because I knew eventually Joe was going to go 6-inch. I knew it, but they didn't do it at the right time. They didn't do it when I was doing it, and I said, "Well, you missed the boat." Well, I'm going to set the stage for you. Yes, you can come on first, and you'll be the headlining show, but I'll get there, but I opened the door for them. And, yes, they had it in the works for so many years, but I think I kind of put it on everyone's radar. And then when it finally hit, then people were like, oh, and then it was like, wait, let me go back and get more Action Force stuff because this Joe thing is real.
Yeah. Yeah. I like I said earlier, I think it's a real opportunity for you, Bobby, as a company with a venture and stuff like that. I saw that. Mike. I'm not going to judge too harshly. I don't always wear a G.I. Joe shirt when I go to G.I. Joe shows.
I have no words for that.
So I guess it's kind of when I looked at the and that's what I thought, was that basically you're going to get the same Snake Eyes, because I knew what the case breakdown was because of my account with Entertainment Earth, which was
your former account.
Yeah, screw them. So it's supposed to be 2 Snake Eyes, a Duke, a Scarlett, a Roadblock, and a Destro. So, and it's supposed to hit the 1st of June is what they have it. So, isn't there some other show coming up here real soon? Another kind of fair of some sort?
And when is NYCC?
October.
Okay.
So San Diego comes up after the release date.
Yeah, they'll have it, and there's also like all the foreign conventions they do. Also, they call it a global convention exclusive. We dealt with it on Marvel. It's like, once everything was a Comic-Con thing, but then Comic-Con wanted to start getting a royalty for putting that SDCC sticker on it.
Bullshit.
So all the companies stopped putting that sticker and then called it a global convention exclusive. And they looked at it like, oh, well, this is a win for us. We don't have to put the sticker on here. We don't have to just sell it at Comic-Con. We could sell it all year round at all these conventions and sell more units. And that's basically how that all happened.
That is absolutely a win. And I'm not at all surprised to hear that about SDCC. If you know anybody who runs a convention or anything like that, that they have parceled out a lot of letters saying that they own the words Comic-Con, things like that. That just, that kind of pettiness in the fan community is no room for it.
Someone's asking here, I'll try to take a question or two. The colors they use. I know some people are, out there and kind of complaining a lot about Scarlett's colors they used. I mean, I guess they wanted to stay away from the original colors for some reason, or I mean, they did screw up Snake Eyes. I mean, they got it right; it's all black.
Well, Snake Eyes is kind of one of those things where it's like Batman and Darth Vader. You kind of can't change it.
Yeah.
But because you can't change that, it gives you like leeway to change everyone else. But I mean, Scarlett, it's, she has a look. I mean, yeah, they put some blue and yellow in there. But it's because the designs are so out there. They took liberty with color, and there's a lot that I think is off. She looks like a 13-year-old. She's got freckles. Like, there's too much gold in there for me. There's also like too many just spots of color for no reason. Same thing on Roblox. I just don't think that the color palette is very sophisticated, or the layout of it is sophisticated. It's just color for the sake of color in a way.
Yeah, I mean, as far as color goes, I like a little subtlety, a little bit of nuance, and this doesn't have that to me. The if you think about it, Scarlett's colors back in '82 weren't all that cool then anyway. She could use a remake,
Yeah. I mean, she had a one piece over some leggings, but and riding boots on. So not the greatest, but
certainly dated.
Certainly dated.
Yeah, certainly.
I'll tell you what, we Mark Weber and I were working on a line, and it was when I was on Joe, we were trying to infuse more 4-inch out there. So we were looking to do a 4-inch line with very minimal tooling, and I designed a new Scarlett for 4-inch, and the design that I came up with for her was awesome, and me and Mark loved it. And the fact that we didn't get to do that figure was a real letdown. But it definitely did not look like what this 6-inch figure looked like. It was very cool and updated design, but kind of I took some cues that kept to the original. It's unfortunate that I can't show that. I'd love to show it one day, but
let me ask a question, and I'd like to hear your feedback on it, Bobby. You got, arguably you can say that with the male characters, they've kind of moved toward kind of a tactical look, which is the stupidest damn term and idea. Weapons aren't cool; they're pieces for war. But why have they not done that with Scarlett and given her that same kind of aesthetic? If you look at women in the military today, and I don't necessarily like to infuse my military fantasy with a lot of realism because it just kind of defeats the purpose. But if you look at women in the military today, they're not dressed any different than the men.
No, no, they're not. They're not.
I think it's misogynist and sexist that they haven't bothered to take that same kind of a look with Scarlett. I think it's the height of creepiness when you start injecting sexuality into comic and cartoon and action figure characters of women just for the sake of doing that and appealing to the lowest base of your fans. I think it is the height of hubris to think that is cool. Now, some people get off on it, and you know what? That's fine. I'm not going to tell you can't, but I think it's in real poor taste. So.
No, I hear you. I mean, I listen. I'm guilty of it on Eclipse. I gave her boob armor. So, but I gave her so much more.
Yeah, exactly.
Tactical stuff to her that kind of, evened it out, covered up. She's got a shamag around her neck. So it's not like her boobs are just out there. Like, here's my boob armor. But, I took that liberty. But I totally know what you're saying. And it's like, look at what Marauders did. Marauders made their Valkyries. And it's like, they had regular tactical vests just like the males. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah, no, I'm not knocking anything that you've done in particular, because I know that you've added those tactical elements to what a soldier in combat will wear, and that's more than we're getting from anybody else. So it's definitely a good step. I hope you didn't take that personal.
No, John, I don't take anything that you say personal anymore.
Oh,
after some of the club figures.
Yeah. I understand that, and it's not without merit, whatever you want to say. That's you're not wrong. Now, what I want to know is when we're going to get a night raid from Action Force. You know what I'm saying. You picking up what I'm putting down, right?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Man, just wait. Let's just get your one figures out, because man, the ideas that I have and the stuff that I want to do, open the floodgates.
Well, given your design sensibility on your figures with Action Force stuff, I'm interested to see what your take on that particular character would be. I really am. I mean, thoroughly excited about it. So, just so you know, you got at least one sale out of the deal.
Oh, hey, there we go.
That's totally going to pay for all the tooling and manufacturing costs. Yeah.
So, John, as far as the 6-inch line, do you plan on picking any of it up? Are you in or out?
Personally, I'm out. I will pick them up to flip because I'm a dirty scalper.
That doesn't surprise me.
Well,
Bobby, you're just in for Snake Eyes?
I'm gonna look at the rest of the line. I haven't seen it all. It's like Destro's gonna be a tough one for me. If you don't get Destro right, I'm gonna be really upset. And the thing with Destro is, if you look at that art that's in that poster, it looks like the characters are following that art.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm one of those people that, listen, I'm very grounded. Like, the guy wears a metal mask. That doesn't mean his lips should move, and that doesn't mean he should have ears. So you need to take some liberty there. Like, look at like Man in the Iron Mask. Like, look at what that looks like. Like, if you wore a metal mask, yes, maybe you'd have a mouth hole and eye holes and things like that. Like, I'd want it to look like a real metal mask, or like
Resolute Destro.
In Resolute, where it was more tech looking. But like, when I saw that artwork and I saw that like he had lips and ears, I was like, here we go again. Like, here we go. So
it's the animation Destro.
That's going to be a big sticking point with me. If you, the way Cobra Commander and the way Destro look are going to be a big sticking point. I mean, I'm going to look at them. Maybe I'll break and I'll get them. I mean, I'm not there. But there's also it's a lot of personal side to it too. I can't, it's hard for me to go in. I wish I can just go into this more open-minded. But you guys know there's a personal aspect to it. So there's a lot of it that, there's a lot of it I can't. But we'll see. I'm trying to be open-minded about it, but it's I'm not going to sit there and just rip apart the line. It's, it is what it is. Like, this is the way they did it. I didn't get to do my vision, but I'm doing my vision now, and that's that. Hopefully the line, listen, the line doing poorly is bad for me. So the line has to do well. So I want it to do well, but it's just not, it's not my cup of tea.
I will probably be all in. I mean, I'll probably get at least one of everything just to have.
Sell out.
Because it's now. Did I say I was going to open them up and put them up? No, I don't plan on opening them up. To be honest with you, I'm kind of like you. I'll sit on them, let them draw a lot of money. Then I'll be the old dirty bastard and flip them like you. So, and also on the art that we saw, or the poster, are we thinking that those are all the figures that they have planned for the future?
If I had to guess, I would say that a good portion of them would probably be on there. That follows traditional Hasbro's way of doing things. If you see something in the background somewhere, more than likely they're going to get to it. I mean, don't you think?
Is the Alley Viper going to be the only trooper we get then? Because that's really kind of a letdown. I want it back.
Well, if you look at what they did with Resolute, there were a couple of different versions of Vipers there, but they weren't traditional Vipers the way we expected. You got an Alley Viper there that was kind of their main trooper. The guy with the bigger block helmet, goggles, and chest armor. So
maybe for like Wave 2, maybe they'll put like a Steel Brigade out or something.
Steel Battalion. Steel Battalion. You don't know how many times I've been tempted to go try to pick up the copyright to the name Hit and Run just because really tempted.
You don't do it, I will.
I said you won't.
Let's move on to
let me send an email to my attorney right now.
On to another part I wanted to talk about was everyone, it got out there that they were all thinking Jazzwares was making this 3 3/4 line. Everyone was just losing their shit. Oh my God, Jazzwares is giving us 3 3/4. We're getting 3 3/4. Then they don't get nothing. Really cool. Yeah, that would have been like that big womp womp.
There are several people who I owe a shot in the nuts over this because that was our bet. If they don't announce 3 3/4 at Toy Fair, I'll get to punch you right square in the balls. And there's a few people that I know that have that coming to them right now. I tried to tell them it doesn't make sense. from a business standpoint for Hasbro to have two different things, one licensed and one they own, in the marketplace competing for the same dollars when they have a brand new property that they really want to push. Whether I like it or don't, from a financial point, that doesn't make any sense. Bobby and I have talked about this quite a bit, and we all would like to see 3 3/4, 4-inch shows, but I just, it doesn't make sense for them to do it in this way. So I don't know. What do you think, Bob?
Where do I start?
Get them.
This was, I mean, so hilarious. Like, and I know, here we go. The His Tank guys are going to get mad at me because I'm going to refer to His Tank as a cancer. And I'm right. You know why I'm right? Because of shit like this. Because reliable source from Nuremberg Toy Fair saw 4-inch Jazzwares G.I. Joe figures. You did, huh? Sure about it? You sure about it? Because I don't think you saw them. But you trusted somebody, and you put your news threads out there, and it wasn't. They put out multiple news threads about it. It's like, listen, you get, like, I understand that there's not a lot of Joe news out there, and when something comes up, you get excited, and guys are reporting on what His Tank is reporting on, and it's bad because you're not doing the research to find the facts. You're looking at it and saying, oh, well, His Tank reported on it, I'm going to report on it. But yeah, you can speculate, but it's there was nothing to support any of it. And everyone was like, oh my God, Fortnite Joe figures. And it blew up, and it became something that it shouldn't have become. But this is the time we live in. This is the social media time. It's like, I go on Facebook, and it's like, everyone's reporting Jazzwares doing Joe. I'm like, no, they're not.
As a fan, I would have loved to have seen that and have their style do the Joes from the current app game on the phone, whatever in the hell it is.
Yeah.
That would have been perfectly suited to them, and they would have probably been a pretty good company to carry that out, I think. But like I said, you can't reconcile one thing with another if you know anything at all about manufacturing. And Hasbro owns this IP. It's theirs. They're not going to water it down at retail if they can help it, especially pushing a brand new version of the product.
I just think the funny thing is that first news blurb came out about Jazzwares doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I came on the show and I said, nope, I got straight from the horse's mouth, this is not the case. They are not doing Joe. And I knew they were doing the domes. I knew that was what they were going to do, not 4-inch figures. And I told people that were reporting on it, I said, listen, not real. It's not real.
Mm-hmm.
This is the case. And then the Nuremberg Toy Fair, 4-inch Joes, like that came out, and then people lost their mind. And I'm just like, no. And then more people were reporting on that His Tank news thread again. And I'm just like, stop.
Well, it's like for so long with the reports of 6-inch Joes, it was premature to be gracious because they've been talking about it for 5 or 6 years. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it's wishful thinking or news sources that aren't correct or whatever. But if it was me at this point, I think I would vet it from 2 sources, just like you do regular journalistic news.
Yeah.
And make sure that it's 100% correct, because it doesn't make you look as reliable as you want to be. And I'm not trying to criticize the guys over at His Tank that are running the show over there. I understand it's all about driving the clicks and all that, and trying to be the news source, and that's great. But again, I would worry about my respectability in the community, at this point, because of some of the things. They said something about 6-inch Joes for what, 5 or 6 years in a row.
Yep.
They finally got it right. Yeah. I'm not knocking that. They may have known something I didn't or whatever, but I don't anticipate it. So
yeah, I mean, we were trying to, at Hasbro, we were trying to work on it for 5 or 6 years. So some people got closer than others, but yeah, it was in the works. But this whole thing, and then I see it, and then it's hilarious when it comes out that it's confirmed that no, Jazzwares is not doing 4-inch Joes. Then it's like
crickets.
Oh, then it's crickets. Then it's like no one's coming out saying, hey, sorry, we we're wrong
My
on
bad.
that. All right. Not
Like
doing
everybody
that.
else, we got excited, but it's not quite what we wanted.
But it was like, look how many people like lost their mind over it for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you
I
think
saw-
the current or the new 3 3/4 line will be strictly movie stuff?
I don't know if you're going to get a 4-inch line, Mike.
Oh, okay. I was just asking.
I don't know if you're going to get a 4-inch line.
I have to ask for my fans.
No,
I don't want to report no fake news out there.
I was about to say something about that very thing from reading the comments. Unlike some folks over there, I did read them. I know you think I don't, but I did read them. Bobby and I have conjectured behind the scenes, and he doesn't know anything. I don't know anything. And we both expect that if there is a movie line, it's going to be those 6-inch 5 POA Avengers style figures they sold at a lower price point. And there'll be maybe 5 or 6 of those, and that'll be it. If you do see 3 3/4 figures and there's a giant it's probably just going to be rehashes of Frankensteins of stuff they've already got tooled up simply to throw a stone in the marketplace and create some ripples. And I wouldn't even count on that, it just doesn't make any sense for them at this point after one gigantic effort and one medium effort to do movie-based lines. There's no point. Why would they, based on the way you guys bought? If you continually say, I'm going to wait till it gets to Ross, or I'll wait until they get to Five Below and buy them for why would they do that? They're not going to. I mean, even though they sold them, they might not have sold them even at a profit. They might have just been a break even and get our money back out of it. So, without retailer support on a national level, why would they even attempt it? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, I'm not a Hasbro fan. I'm not trying to be a Hasbro homer. I'm just trying to apply a little common sense to the discussion. So, can you, Bobby, can you in your head imagine what those 5 POA 6-inch movie figures would look like?
Listen, man, I worked on the Avengers ones for 2 years. The funny thing is this whole 5-inch 5 POA thing kind of started on a line that I worked on, because we were doing so I was doing Spider-Man back when I first started working for Hasbro. I worked on Amazing Spider-Man 2, and then it was an animation year after that. So in, I think it was 2014, we were trying to figure out, like, okay, well, what are we going to do for the new animated show? And Titan Hero was selling like crazy, and that's a $10 figure that's 12 inches. So those are selling millions of units. So
that Mattel's a superior version of. Yeah.
So they were like, well, we have to have, a good value. So at the time, this is when I was also working on the 4-inch Marvel Legends, or Universe as they should have been called. And we couldn't afford a good figure at $10. So prices were going up to 12, but we knew we had to stay at 10 for the kids' Spider-Man line.
Yeah.
So we ended up I did this line of Spider-Man figures, which came out gorgeous. They were one of my favorite lines I ever worked on. It was the Web Warriors animation, and they were, 5-inch, like 5.5-inch figures, 5 POA, and that was the kid line. But then the Guardians mini line didn't work for the Guardians movie, so then everyone kind of started following suit with that 5 POA 5-inch line, and then I end up working on it my last 2 years there on the last 2 Avengers movie, doing those same 5-inch figures. And it's like we were using the same exact sculpts that we were using for the Legends. We were using for those, just removing a bunch of the articulation. So, it wasn't really anything new. So, that's kind of the trend. Who knows? They might fool us and they might come out with a 4-inch line. You never know. But because
as a fan, fingers crossed, baby.
Listen, the reason why I don't think there's going to be a 4-inch line is because I don't see there being like vehicles in Snake Eyes, and I don't see Hasbro wanting to put the money into tooling vehicles for a G.I. Joe line that is unproven and is just coming back after a hiatus. So that's where I think they're going to put the money into those 5-inch figures. You're probably going to get a deluxe talking or movie sound, $30 12-inch figure. You're going to get some Titan Heroes. You're going to get some foam swords, a Snake Eyes mask. That's going to be your line. You'll probably get, some sort of Nerf ninja dart weapon, that sort of thing. But I think that's what it's going to be. The problem is that movie line isn't going to be targeted at collectors, and I don't think kids are going to be going to see a PG-13 ninja movie. Yeah. So I don't understand who they're really targeting. So the problem is the movie figures are going to clog the shelves, and they're not going to sell. But maybe the 6-inch figures, the classified stuff, will sell. But they're going to look at G.I. Joe as a whole and say, well, it's kind of soft. So maybe they'll let classified keep going for maybe another year. But if the Snake Eyes movie doesn't do well, it's like, listen, guys, in the grand scheme of things, there's probably maybe 2,000 Joe fans out there. Maybe. Hardcore, think about how many people you need to go see a movie to have it make money. And nowadays, you go back, think about the first Joe movie. First Joe movie made like $300 million ish, and that was considered a success. $300 million now is not a success. You need your movie to make like $500 million in order for a studio to consider a movie a success to keep going forward. So I just don't see Snake Eyes having the power to, go that far. If it's a great movie, that's great. I hope it's great. I hope I love it. But at the same time, I don't see the general public really going to see that movie and having it make a ton of money that it needs to make in order to kind of keep the line going.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, man. There's one of the things that I've touched on in lots of my conversations over the last 5 years since the tail end of the G.I. Joe Collectors Club that a lot of people out there in the marketplace don't understand. And I actually made the argument earlier this week in a discussion. There's, like you said, maybe 2,000 really hardcore G.I. Joe fans out there, that make that a priority above everything else. Understand that there's some qualification there, but that will travel, that will go to conventions and things like that. And it's the same bunch of folks. It's not getting any bigger because there's nothing else in the marketplace to create new fans other than parents who are turning their kids onto it. And that's great. I'm glad to see that every time a little kid comes to my booth and asks for a figure, if I got it, I'm just going to give it away. I want them to have some fun stuff and enjoy things like I did growing up. But this perception in the open marketplace that there is just this innumerable amount of desire for G.I. Joe product is absolutely incorrect. As a fan, I wish it wasn't, but the realist in me has to look at it and see, hey, it's just not there. It's just not there, and it's not going to be there without a whole new iteration or a whole new version of G.I. Joe to bring in new people.
Yeah. And it's like they talk about, that E1 acquisition, they're going to do Joe animation. Well, it's like, okay, well, that's great, but when are we going to get that? Like, how long is it going to take you to develop animation? It's probably going to be another year, maybe 2 years before we even see Joe animation if they do it. So it's like you're losing your audience over time. The more you have less in the market.
And what's it going to be? Is it going to be Sigma 6? Is it going to be Renegades? Is it going to be Resolute? Is it going to be something completely new that we haven't seen before? And if it is new, don't try to shoehorn the old characters in there. Don't bother. It's a waste of time. Make it be something completely fresh. So these are all easy things to sit back as a fan and say and do. But as a corporation, there's they answer to the bottom line, which is shareholder interest. And if it's not a good gamble, they're not going to take it. So, and 2,000 people is not enough to support. It's just not enough to support a line of nostalgia-driven sales.
Yeah.
As far as the stuff from Jazzwares, I mean, let's be honest, it's kind of a joke, right? I mean, do they really think that any adult collector is going to collect this crap?
I think the same people that buy Pops may have an interest in it.
You shut your dirty whore mouth.
I find it kind of hypocritical that the guy who buys Pops is saying that no one's going to buy a small PVC figure with no articulation.
Yeah.
It's in a case. It's in a little tube.
You could take it out of it.
And what are you taking your Pops out of the boxes? Because I'll bet you aren't. Yeah, see? No. Well, so what do you care?
It's getting bad. Oh, Mike, you should just stop now. It's getting real bad for you.
I think I won't have to.
Wow. No, I think that there is a market for it. It's not very big, and it will be the casual G.I. Joe fan who just sees something G.I. Joe related. Oh, hey, there's a figure kind of like the ones I had when I was a kid. Oh, that's that character I like, and they'll buy that one.
Or it'll be the Joe fan who has to have everything.
There's not very many of those.
It's kind of like take for example, Josh, a good friend of mine, just chimed in. He's been a Joe fan since he was the 80s, but now he doesn't do 4-inch or 3 3/4, but he wants to do 6-inch. So he plans on buying the 6-inch line. and he would buy more of the troopers if they offered troopers, but they haven't offered no troopers yet. So it's kind of like a no-go with him right now, you know?
Yeah. I know someone who's putting out really good troopers right now.
Yeah, I know.
yeah.
Yeah. There's a fella out there somewhere. I forget what his line was called.
There was a really cool urban camo trooper. There's an all black like special ops trooper.
Wasn't there a god awful neon yellow guy? I mean, just
I think I remember seeing some sort of weird neon yellow one.
I mean, I'm surprised he didn't have a spring-loaded launcher, to be honest. You know, you know what would be great? It just as a creative aside, what would be great is to do some kind of a spring-loaded launcher in one of the lines here somewhere, one of the boutique lines, and make it so cool that people are like, that is awesome, and I must have it. You know,
I don't have the QA restrictions that like Hasbro does, so I can make that missile fire hard, man.
Oh, like the Spawn Series 1 guy that shot it so hard it would stick in the ceiling? You probably didn't have that. That thing was lethal.
But then one collector will shoot himself in the eye, and then I'll get sued, and then Action Force will be no more because of one guy.
You get Battlestar Galactica. I've been thinking about it for a while. We have in our design vault of stuff that we're planning on doing, we have a post Civil War era cannon on carriage and a Gatling gun, and it would be great to be able to take that cannon design and make it shoot a cannonball spring-loaded missile type thing. If we can integrate it at scale and make it not look ridiculous. That's something I've considered for a while, and I think it would be great to take that feature that so many people hate on and turn it into something that works and looks good and scaled up properly. You know,
John,
go ahead.
When you were a kid, did you have a Johnny Reb cannon?
No, I didn't.
Oh man, that thing was brutal. Man, that thing will take your eye out.
No, I skipped straight to the Red Ryder BB gun. Straight to semi-lethal right there.
All right.
I think that adding a feature like that to a line now in a boutique era and make it indispensable would be great.
You got to go real vintage and put the cannonball on a string and then pull it through and then let it go so it like just blips out.
Yeah. Just pull the string back until it compresses the spring on the inside, let it go, and it shoots. That'd be cool. And
what do you think?
You can tie a knot in the end of the string so that it's on the back of the cannon, so you don't lose the cannonball.
There you go.
Really old school retro.
What do you think about what Hasbro did with the Transformer Netflix series?
Hasbro. We're tired of talking about Hasbro.
I'm trying to keep my news relevant, okay? I'm trying to. What do y'all think with them doing the Netflix TV series and kind of color bashing one of the reflectors as scrap iron, but calling it scrap face? People are pointing that out as a kind of like a homage to the G.I. Joe character. Do you think that's actually true or just wishful thinking?
Well, they've homaged G.I. Joe stuff before in the Transformer line. There was Snowcat, who I think that was Armada around that time, wasn't it, Bobby? That turned into a G.I. Joe Snowcat.
Right.
He was lavender, cream, and gray. I recall there's been a couple of others. Obviously, there's name crossovers and stuff. So, if why not? Was it Hasbro? Was it third party that did that Rattler recolor of
Power Glide?
Power Glide. Was that third party?
I gotta dig that out. My buddy Benny, he's probably listening to the show. He sent me one of those. That thing was cool. I gotta see who made that.
Yeah, it's super cool. Yeah, it is super cool. I can't, like I said, I can't remember if it was third party or regular. I don't really keep up on Transformers unless it's just something that catches my eye.
Yeah, it was Hasbro. It's San Diego exclusive, actually.
Okay, yeah, that's okay. Then that's what I'm talking about. I mean, personally, my love for Transformers only comes when you get to the Action Masters because they don't transform; they're actual action figures, and I only want a modern version of that if it takes into account all of the garish colors, especially from the European stuff. For that, I mean, you know what? I'll take an Omega Supreme. The one that just came out last year. I'll take that. But you do it in the European Omega Supreme colors. You get it in those nasty colors that make people want to puke when they see it. Then I'm on. Yeah.
I mean, it's good to see that they got Transformers on Netflix, because when Netflix is great, but when I saw that they put Stretch Armstrong on Netflix, I was like, ooh, I don't think this is
missed
gonna be good.
opportunity.
And it failed. So I was like, wow, I hope that doesn't hurt the Hasbro Netflix relationship. But it's good that they're they're doing it, because I mean, these streaming services.
Are you seeing this comment?
Huh?
Are you seeing this comment? Somebody's saying that this year's SDCC Transformers and G.I. Joe crossover again. In the comments.
Really? There was a leaked. Something was leaked. There's a picture somewhere floating between TFW and Hiss about there's supposed to be some Transformer G.I. Joe crossover item.
If it came from Hiss, I ain't believing it.
Well, it's on both of them, and guess what? They're run by the same people.
I don't know. Hey, if they do, they do. Listen, they're their brands. If they do it, great. If they don't, it's kind of a miss. I mean, they had so much success with the ones they were doing. I felt like the last one was a bad one, but I think the last one, I don't think John Warden worked on that one. Or maybe he did, but I felt like that was like the lacking one. But I felt like the three before were really, really good. So it makes sense to do crossovers, but we'll see what happens.
I want it because we're going to start winding down here in a little bit, but if y'all got some questions for Bobby or John, Bobby with the Action Force line and everything going on with that, and if you got any questions for John about the Cowboy line, just start putting them in the chat, and we'll start going by them and trying to get as many as we can answered the next 20 minutes, I guess.
Man, they won't really want to talk to me.
You don't know that. That's not true.
Nobody cares about
someone asked a goddamn question for the Cowboys, damn it. I don't want you to feel left out.
I don't feel left out. I know what it is. I created it. I knew who our fan base was going to be.
Oh, Red Shadows. Woo. In due time. Don't worry.
In the meantime, you can go to Joe Fest and take the customizing class to get your Red Shadow fix. Plug.
In 3 3/4.
Hey, yo, that's where it's at, baby.
I think Bobby would argue that with you.
Nah.
I'm not going to say he's wrong, but I know I'm right.
This guy.
John, see, there's one for you.
Hey, we got a Cowboy question.
Oh, God, this Chris Rooks guy again? Jesus. Well, I have finished pictures of the saddle, completely done, the regular saddle. The next thing is to move on to the cavalry saddle. The horses have kind of taken a back seat to getting through this year and kind of staggering out our product. As I said about 4 or 5 months ago on one of these podcasts, I think the last time I was on, Mike.
Don't bring my name into it.
The idea that we were going to do a giant Kickstarter with the figures and the horses kind of had to be disassembled. So the figures that you're getting through the rest of this year that we're going to offer would have been part of that Kickstarter, and then the horses are going to have to come after. And the reason for that is to give us the opportunity to war chest some cash and be able to make this an actual profitable ongoing venture that can support itself. If we have to continue to wholesale significant amounts of product to retailers to keep this afloat, it really doesn't do any good. We're just treading water and churning cash. So it has to, for the amount of time I'm putting into it and stuff, it has to be profitable. I think Bobby would agree with that as well, to continue to move forward. It's great to see projects done and to get figures that you want done and all that. But at the end of the day, it has to put something in your pocket and to provide for your health and welfare on a personal level. And if it's not doing that, so that was a decision we made to kind of disassemble that Kickstarter and change up the order of things. The horses, you'll see full color digital renders, just like we provided on all the other figures later on in the year as we get a few months out from a Kickstarter date and things like that. So just be patient. We're going to get there. Also, we didn't want to step on our friends at Boss Fight. They did horses that are very different from ours, and those are just starting to deliver, and didn't want to really muddy the water, but because our product is very different from them. their designs. Theirs are hero horses. Ours are working cow ponies. And those are two very, very different things in terms of appearance. So there you go.
Does that kind of answer this question, John?
Did Boss Fight give you a horse? Well, your figures. I actually wasn't able to participate in the Kickstarter because we were cash strapped, the extra cash. I am not going to ask Boss Fight to give me anything because they're friends of mine, and I don't expect to be able to get stuff for free just because I ask. I don't.
That's not what you told me now.
I don't know where you got your fake news, but
Fred, that line, some bitch.
I do know that Eric reached out a little while back and asked if he mind if he took pictures of our Cowboys on their horses, and I said no, absolutely not. I'd love to see what they look like. So you may be seeing something like that, after things calm down for them a bit. I don't know. If not, I definitely want to get one of their Palominos and one of the Rainbow Unicorns as a personal collector. And when I do, if they haven't done it already, I'll take some pictures. Now, there is not a Western saddle being offered in their stuff. It's an Australian saddle, which doesn't have a horn on it, and a couple other design differences from a traditional Western saddle, but you'll be able to get a pretty good idea. Their horses, like I said, are big. They're hero size. They're draft horses or Clydesdales, if you want, because they're meant to haul men on with full suits of armor and be turned into, centaurs and stuff like that. So, it's a very different design from what we've got. I think that their sculptor Fred has really killed it on the sculpt, and I look forward to seeing them in hand when I get the opportunity. But for now, I don't have and won't have for a little bit. So,
Bobby, I think maybe you might be able to answer this one.
The ME Joe molds.
Modern era.
Oh, the modern era.
Talking about.
Okay, so the way that kind of works. I'm sure he won't mind me saying it, but before Daryl was let go, I think sometime during that year, maybe the year before, he gets a list from China and the engineering team, and it's all molds that they have been sitting on that they say, all right, well, we've been sitting on these for say 10 years with no use. Can we scrap them? The factory has to make room, this and that. They want to recycle the material, so they'll send them a list. And it goes to kind of like the brand manager at the time. And it was Daryl at the time. And he was going through this giant list. I didn't envy him at all. But it was all of stuff. And if he, he knows what he's doing. But every now and then he would ask me like, hey, do you think there's a reason for us to keep this? And I'd say yes or no. I think it was mostly like 2000s, crap that they were looking to kind of get rid of. But they'll go through that every so often. So I wouldn't be surprised if, who knows, maybe five years down the road, whoever the new guy leading Joe is going to get a list. The unfortunate thing is that person is not going to have any idea what the hell they are looking at. And someone's going to say to them, they're going to go and talk to engineer over here and say, hey, do you know what these are? And they're going to say, I don't know. Well, when was the last time they were used? Oh, last time they were used was 2011.
2005.
Say, oh, all right, well, destroy them. I have a feeling that's going to happen because there's no one there left that will be able to know or care. So it's just eventually going to happen. Plus, if you look at it, all the press releases and things like that, Hasbro's trying to move away from China with their manufacturing. So I don't know where these new figures are being made. If they are being made in China, maybe Indonesia, who knows? But if that's the case and they're moving away from China, eventually they're not going to need those molds. Eventually that factory is going to say, hey, Hasbro, you're not really doing a lot of business with us. We're going to get rid of your molds. And it's not like Hasbro's not going to tell them to ship those molds to them. That's thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds of steel that is going to cost millions of dollars to transport. So there's no reason for them to send any of that steel. So that's eventually what's going to happen. So who knows? I'm not there. I can really say.
That's kind of a pity because I was just going to add on there. It's kind of a pity because so much of the stuff that was during the boss fight team's tenure there to be interchangeable and work together, thanks to the efforts of guys like Dave Proctor and stuff, making sure everybody had the same posture, use the same joint size, blah, 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 blah. So those allowed a lot more interchangeability. And it's a shame that the end date on those tools is coming up sooner rather than later, and eventually they're going to get recycled or dumped in the bottom of a harbor or whatever. Just a pity from a fan standpoint. So,
Yep.
and I'm not getting to answer that.
Come on.
Walker Texas Ranger is a modern cowboy, which we're not making. We're certainly not making 6-inch. That's just trolling. Come on.
Well, you are making a Texas Ranger, even though it is 3 3/4. Josh, it's going to be at when's that show? It's 2 weeks after mine.
It's June. That's the third weekend in June.
Josh, me and you will go to it. I'm coming down there anyways, so we can drive over to Dallas and go there.
Maybe I'll put a cowboy in Action Force. Nice modern day cowboy in Action Force. How about that?
Well, this is something I haven't discussed publicly at all, but depending on how well the Texas Ranger does this year as an exclusive for shows and things, that may determine that next year we try to do a modern version of the same Ranger, loosely based on the 12-inch offering from Hasbro from 2001. One thing that I'm working on right now with one of our sculptors is some 12-inch scaled cowboy parts, because there isn't anything really out there after an extensive search looking for parts to build a custom figure of my own. There's not really much out there. So some of the size up into 1/6 scale and see if I can get them manufactured, and then we'll see how they go on the marketplace. The first item is absolutely going to be done for sure. It's a Ranger badge and leather fob that can go on a shirt or belt. But again, that's at 1/6 scale. So that's something that most of you guys don't really have an interest in. So, but no, I have no intention of doing 6-inch stuff at any time, anywhere soon. It would take a large windfall of money for me to even consider it, because it would simply be a financial decision, not anything to do with it's self-interest. So, female Western figures are scheduled for next year. Our control art guy is currently working on the first of the designs right now. Once those are done, I'll probably be passing those off to Bobby to help me with colors and stuff. Little Bobby.
Me designing it.
I've already got designs in mind. He's just drawing it. He's putting them down on paper.
You should have me drawing it.
Nah, they'd be all sexy time with push-up bras and
Stop
stuff.
Stop it.
Hey, congratulations on Action Force funding.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited. Hopefully you're a backer. If you are, thank you for the support. But yes, I'm very excited that this train is rolling.
So as far as the Action Force, before we head out, the current I forgot the name. Crowdfunding or
Crowdox.
That's Mike. Crowdox is when is it scheduled to end again? Is it when was it?
I didn't give a date.
I said
it would run when I reopen it back up. I said it would run for at least a month, but who knows? Maybe it'll stay open indefinitely. I don't know. But that doesn't.
Yeah, you keep getting some sales. There's no reason to cut that off, right?
There isn't. I mean, we're into production. Our orders are our orders. We're doing, the production quantity we're doing. So it only helps the line to keep it open longer. So we'll see. It's going really strong right now. So
one thing that people don't realize is that you can't really go backward in terms of production numbers, but you can go up very easily.
You can go up.
If you sell more, you make more, right?
I actually had to increase quantity on a couple items, which is
great.
That's an awesome feeling to do that. To the point where you're like, whoa, there's so many orders that came in for this. We have to up our quantity. So that's really fun. So thank you to everyone who helped make that happen. That's exciting.
So I can go on there and add the Swarm backpack and another figure if I wanted to.
You can. One. Every item is open for pre-orders. Every item that is available is currently open. So when you go on Crowdox, all the links I have on all my social media. But if you go to valaverse.com, right on the front homepage is click the center image that takes you right to the Crowdox pre-order page. If you pledge through Kickstarter, you should have gotten an email that allows you to get back to your order and add more to it. So every item is available. You can add more Stormtroopers. You could add anything you want. You can add the 3 new items. So it's all available. There's no restrictions on anything. So it's all there for everyone who missed it.
Why don't I see Eclipse?
Come on, man.
Damn. Pick him in when he's down.
Hey, man. That was one of the figures I liked in your line. I really am looking forward to it when it gets unlocked.
You know,
I know you got to make the money. You can make the figure.
The thing with Eclipse is I love that figure so much, and I really thought she would get funded, but I knew it was a big hill to climb because it's an expensive figure.
It's all unique, all new tooling.
I wonder if I kept it open, and if I kept it open into the Scarlett being released, I wonder if it would have helped. But I didn't want to just go back and open her up again, because if she failed again, then I would have to, take her out again. I didn't want it to be like a constant disappointment with the Eclipse. So
you didn't want her to be that rock and roll that Hasbro tried to release 4 times, or Quinn or anything like that.
That's right.
Yeah, you don't look like a monkey humping a football.
Yeah, it was tough. I went back and forth with it a lot because I felt like she really, really needs to be in the line. She's such a great figure, but
yeah, I think so.
That just means we'll get her out eventually, wave 2. So she's there. At least you know what you're going to get.
If you recall in our Kickstarter, there were 5 figures that didn't get unlocked, and it was very difficult to push those off, but they're coming now. So think about how much more satisfying it's going to be when she does finally get manufactured. The people that have been waiting, really anticipating it, are going to take something away from that. That's a little extra, a little special. So yes, we're making Buffalo Soldiers. Look for a pre-order for a Cavalry Wave later on this year. And no, you're not going to get Dallas Cowboys figures. Native Americans are still planned for next year.
House is fixing to start posting these in your. You tell John something. It's like you show John how to fish. He'll feed himself. I mean, it's amazing. You showed him where the chat's at. He starts reading on his own. I'm so proud of you, John.
I was reading a while ago, but as a show host, I think you would have pointed somebody that way. Hey, you can look at the questions over here if you want to come up with an answer ahead of time. But no, unprofessional.
I know. It's okay.
Just to answer your question, the announcement of 6-inch Joes helped the Action Force sales tremendously over that weekend. The sales spiked like crazy. So the Joe 6-inch definitely helped. So thank you, Hasbro, and your 6-inch gold members. But it's been good so far. So I'm really happy.
I need both of you guys,
great bonuses.
if you can. The chat I started for us to send me a link to everything so I can make sure to include it in the description of this video so that people can go, if they have not funded Action Force or they're interested, they can at least go and say, hey, yeah, I want to get this because sadly I pre-ordered Snake Eyes, but I want a Steel Brigade figure to go with it. So
Steel Battalion or Steel Brigade?
Whatever the hell we're calling it. What are we calling it?
Stop it.
Steel Brigade. Steel Brigade.
We're calling it Bobby's Figures. That's what we're going to call it. Bobby's Figures.
Let me reiterate something that we spoke about earlier before Bobby popped in. The plan was to have our next pre-order start tomorrow on the 1st. That's probably not going to happen until more than likely Monday at this point, so we'll be about a day behind. If you're looking for that, you can find it at chickenfriedtoys.com. It'll take you right to the front page of the store at that time. You can catch up all the latest news, which I will post as soon as I have a concrete time on the Facebook page for those of you who do Facebook. For those of you who don't, I guess you'll have to go to his tank and look there. I'm sure somebody hating on it. So before Mike ties it up, these are starting to arrive, so be sure you check your mailboxes. I only ordered the one figure from Sectars, then it came today. They are on a par.
See the back of it.
With the Captain Action stuff. Okay, it's got a cross sale for all 6 of the figures from the line on there.
Cool.
It's actually a bit more dynamic card than the Captain Action stuff. As you can see, it's fully painted artwork on the front instead of being comic art, and I think it looks really good. It was difficult to decide whether to cut it or to leave it since this is the only one of the line I currently have. So, the Captain Action.
They're not doing the fold over blister. It's sealed onto the card.
Yeah, just like ours. I you know what? If you want a second one to leave carded, buy 2. Otherwise, you need to open them up to feel the coolness of the toy. I mean, you can't feel it through the plastic bubble.
See, what's really funny is that I did that for John's line. If I wanted to open one up, I ended up getting a second one. There was actually someone selling one really cheap. I picked up a second fire.
Oh, so you didn't buy from the project creator, huh?
No, I bought one from you, and I bought a second one from someone else that was selling it cheap. You ass. You know I'm poor white boy in Arkansas.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
You actually blame Bobby. He took all the money.
I'm not mad at it.
I knew he wanted to throw somebody else under the bus.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you'd sell that piece of crap Bumble Camaro, you'd have a little money, Mike.
I would, but then I couldn't get away from my wife when I wanted to.
Fair point. Fair point.
What about the bed you live in down by the river?
Hey, now don't give away my hidey hole.
No.
Well, thanks for the questions, everybody. And I've been really enjoyed hanging out tonight with you guys.
Yeah, and I'll definitely post the links in the description for people who want to go and check out their stuff, their shit, their toys, stuff they'll take their money from, no problem. But I do appreciate both of you guys coming on here. I know we were kind of Hasbro heavy, but that's kind of what I wanted to hit towards a little bit. But I definitely wanted to talk to y'all about your projects as well as what your thoughts on the possible delays of the coronavirus over in China land.
It is what it is, man. It is what it is, and there's no getting around it. So.
Well, I do appreciate everyone who chimed in. We had actually quite a few people watching. You can find me everywhere as Angry Mike, and I know you can find John underneath Chicken Fried Toys or Dime Novel Legend on Facebook, and you can find Bobby on Valaverse.com or Valaverse on Facebook and Instagram, but not Twitter. Don't know why you don't like Twitter. What's wrong with Twitter?
I don't
Bird?
I don't understand Twitter. If I can have someone kind of give me like a Cliff Notes version of what Twitter is and how it can help me, maybe I'll look into it. But it's like, listen, man, I got to manage the website. I got to manage the Crowdox. I got to manage the Facebook project. And it's like, listen, if I got to do one more thing, you know, I might as well just have I glue my phone to my hand because
I thought Fred was helping with all that stuff.
No, he helped me with like the Facebook ads and things like that when like the Kickstarter was going on.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, as far as like, I don't know what Twitter is, man. I don't know.
You get an entourage to help you do all that.
Listen, if I could afford an assistant, I would have an assistant.
One last thing. 46 Zone asked if anyone was going to Toylanta this year. I'll be there. We're currently on the wait list for a booth, so if we don't have a booth, I'll do the Friday night lobby swap and room-to-room trading on Friday and Saturday, so you'll be able to come and get the Cowboys if you want. I'll have a certain amount of my cast inventory there. So, but that's the next show I'm planning on doing is Toylanta in the mid-late part of this month. Hopefully Bobby will come down, but I don't plan on it.
When's Toylanta?
It's the 25th and 26th, I believe, of this month. It could happen. I'll make it.
It's that quick. Of this month? No, I got to head out to California the mid part of this month, so that's going to take up a good amount of my time. Yeah. So,
that's too bad.
Hopefully, I don't come back with or anything like that.
Are you still planning on doing Joe Fest again this year, Bob?
Oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah.
They were announced.
Awesome. Awesome.
I'm working on I'm working on a big announcement for Joe Fest. Because
hey, I'll tell you this publicly. You want to come hang out in the customizing class?
Okay. You know maybe I'll pop in. Maybe if I could dig some unreleased heads out of the vault or something like that.
What about me? Do I get to come hang out?
You're not going to make the trip, you cheap bastard.
You know I'll always pop in. John, I popped in last time, so I'll definitely pop in again.
I'd love that. That'd be great.
Yeah, but no, I'm working on a big announcement for Joe Fest. Hopefully I can have all the details ironed out because we're going to have the first ever Action Force panel at Joe Fest. So I'm working on having some cool reveals and some really big news to share for the people that go to the panel. So we'll see.
All right, everyone. I appreciate it. Again, you can check the description for the links a little bit later on, but we'll get that up for you. And appreciate you guys jumping on tonight, and we're going to sign out.
Of course. Thank you guys for listening to the show.
Mike, do you love Golden Corral and Pops figures?
Yes, I do.